Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video. I'm going to be sharing all of my thoughts on the new Fenty Soft Lit Naturally Hydrating Longwear Foundation. What a tongue twister. So if you're interested in this foundation, how it looks on the skin, how it looks in natural daylight, and an 8-hour wear test, then keep watching. Okay, so this is Fenty's latest foundation, the Soft Lit Naturally Hydrating Luminous, what is the name? It's so long, I can't remember it. The Soft Lit Naturally Luminous Hydrating Longwear Foundation. This is available in 50 shades, a wowee. We love to see it. And it will set you back £34 or $40 for 32 mils. For free. As per the brand, this claims to be a long-wear, medium coverage foundation that gives golden hour glow all day long and stays fresh. It hydrates, brightens and improves skin tone both instantly and over time, while resisting sweat, humidity and transfer. This lightweight waterproof formula instantly reduces the appearance of shine and gives a whole new kind of radiance. This is just right notch above natural luminosity in a bottle. And here is the all-important ingredients list for you to have a little read through and check if there's anything in there that might cause you a problem. So I have had this foundation for a few days now and I've been trying it out. I've been gathering my thoughts to share with you today, and that's what we're going to do. So let's start off with the demo so you can see this foundation on the skin. Let's go. So I really like this packaging. It feels nice and luxurious. It looks very nice. It feels very silky. It's got that hexagonal shape to it, to the bottle, so that you can kind of tell it apart from the other Fenty foundations, which I like. Here it is close up, and it does have a pump, and mine's already filthy. So I have used this foundation a few times now, so I've kind of got the lay of the land today. It has a pretty light fragrance, nothing overwhelming, nothing super perfumey, barely noticeable unless you really get your nose right in there, and a kind of medium texture. It's not super runny, it's not thick really either, it's somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to start off with a brush on this side. I have prepped my skin with my usual Tom Ford Soft Matte Primer, as always. I'm just going to start building this up with a light layer with my brush. I do prefer a brush with this foundation. I feel like it applies really nicely with either a sponge or a brush, and I will show you a sponge in a minute. You're just going to get more coverage quicker with a brush, and you're going to lose less product in the sponge, but the sponge does give you a kind of a more natural amount of coverage and finish because it is taking away any excess that you might build up with a brush. So it's really personal preference. It's going to work, in my opinion, with either. So it's really down to which you prefer, which I love. I love it when you can just use whatever you like and the foundation will work beautifully with both. It's very easy to blend and build. I say pretty quickly with the brush, we get to, you know, a solid medium approaching full. There's a little bit of my redness still breaking through here. But other than that, we've got a really nice amount of coverage. You can see the difference. I will say this shade is not perfect for me. This is 290 and it's described as a neutral shade, but for me it runs quite yellow as a neutral shade, so that's not ideal, but it's definitely a shade that we can make work. I do always find the undertones in Fenty foundations a little tricksy, to be honest. I feel like they have an amazing number of shades and they go really light and really deep, and that's fantastic, but I have always struggled a little with their undertones. I've tried, you know, many shades over the years in their several foundations, and I've just never really found the undertone to be quite right. I'm just building that up to fully cover any redness and discoloration and just really see the coverage of this foundation, because we do get to a full pretty easily, as you can see. I'd say that was a pretty standard full coverage. It's definitely not approaching the level of like the Louboutin foundation. It's a more standard full as opposed to like a high coverage, completely covered in moments, if you see what I'm saying. But I think it's quite versatile. You can go from a medium to a full pretty quickly and easily. It blends really quickly and it feels very lightweight on the skin. So let's switch over to a sponge on this side. And we'll start building. And you can see the sponge is not like absorbing all my product. I'm still getting, you know, a medium pretty much off the bat with my damp sponge. So it's not so liquidy that I wouldn't advise using it with a sponge. I just typically prefer a brush. So you can see here, we've got a sort of light medium coverage with a sponge right off the bat with a small amount versus built up to full on this side with the brush. But you can absolutely build using a sponge. And this sponge, this is the Beauty Effect sponge. And this one really doesn't soak up as much as some of them do. So it is a really good one. I love this sponge. You don't lose quite so much product, but it's not super liquidy. The fragrance you can't smell at all, or I can't smell it at all as I'm applying. It's not heavy at all. And so now we're pretty even. I definitely think this side still has a hair less coverage than the brush side, but I think if we keep building, we can still get to a full with a sponge. Just might take a little more product. Okay, so here is the finished, freshly applied foundation. I don't know how much you can see. It's a pretty good match, to be honest. I just think for me, in person, it runs a little yellow in comparison to my undertone, but it's by no means a bad match, and I think it's probably my best match that I've tried from Fenty. Now this is freshly applied and I do think it dries down less glowy than this, so we will see it once I finish the rest of my makeup. I'll show you it again, because at the moment we're looking really glowy, and this foundation, I don't think it's really glowy. I saw on Sephora their description of the finish was a hair above natural, and I think that is the perfect description. Once it's dried down, I wouldn't describe it as a really glowy, it's certainly not approaching dewy, luminous, radiant type of foundation. It is literally a hair above natural. That's the perfect, very accurate description in my opinion. I think it looks very, very natural, and it's very juicy, fresh, plump looking on the skin. It feels extremely lightweight. I would almost say I can't feel the foundation on my skin at all. Extremely lightweight, feels very comfortable, feels hydrating on the skin. And that feeling stays throughout the wear. It doesn't start to feel heavier throughout the day. It feels like nothing. Very natural looking, very flattering. This area, you know, where I've got lines and texture and I talk, and, you know, foundations tend to work their ways into lines. This looks really, really good. My forehead lines look really, really good. It's not really creasing or settling anywhere. My nose is looking good. All around here. The body of my face looks so smooth and very, very flattering. Beautiful. Let me finish the rest of my makeup so you can see how it's looking once it's had a little while to dry down. Okay, so we are back and I've finished my makeup. So the foundation has now been on for about 20 minutes, I would say. So this is the dried down finish, and as you can see, definitely nowhere near as glowy as we were when it was freshly applied. And I definitely feel like here is where we see that finish, that hair above natural finish is the exact description. I haven't set the foundation other than under my eyes and all of my usual concealer areas. So this is the natural finish of this foundation, but not a lot else has really changed. There's been no sinking into smile lines. There's been no changing of the color. There's no sort of caking up anywhere. I had no issues applying my powder products on top of it without setting the foundation. It actually feels really silky and set. It doesn't feel like you're applying powder products onto something wet and sticky and tacky. It feels like it's dried down, it feels set, and I think it still looks absolutely beautiful, very flattering, really natural, really kind to texture and wrinkles and anything like that that you might have going on, with really great coverage. Let's do a little bit of a transfer test. So I'm going to apply a little bit of toilet paper just here where there is no other product, no bronzer or anything else, and definitely a fail. I didn't even rub or push too lightly, so definitely not transfer proof, which is interesting because this does claim to be waterproof, and I feel like if it can't resist that, how was it going to cope with, you know, a downpour or a swim? Would be my question. Okay, so I'll insert a clip here of the foundation in natural daylight so that you can see how it looks in natural outside, in cloud covered and natural daylight. That's kind of going to give us a really realistic view of the finish of this foundation. I also filmed an 8-hour check-in the other day when I was wearing this foundation. I'm not going to be able to do that today, so I did this yesterday, and my day yesterday was just giving the foundation a bit more of a test because it was a long day and we had swimming lessons, so it got some humidity, it got a lot of outside time at the park and things like that. So this was at about the 8-hour mark, and really not a lot of real issues or real signs of wear here. What I've noticed over the last few days of wearing this foundation and trying it out was around the 8-hour mark, we start to get a little shiny. So a little shiny on my forehead, a little shiny around my nose. I also was wearing sunglasses on and off almost this entire day when I did this wear test, and I really was impressed at how the nose piece really didn't cause much of an issue. You know how it rubs the little sort of oblong shape onto your nose whenever you're wearing sunglasses, and it is there barely though. And these sunglasses were on and off all day, so I was quite impressed with that and how well it stood up to those sunglasses going on and off throughout the day. So all in all, I think it really wears decently well. My kind of final thoughts on this foundation are that I really like it. I don't know that it's a real love yet, but I will keep wearing this and trying this out with different makeup and different days over the next couple of weeks, and I will update you fully in my May roundup as always. The slight thing for me that I wish was a little bit different was, one, the shade, you know, the undertones being a little bit off really does affect how much I can possibly love a foundation. I really need it to be like perfect, otherwise it's just always going to be a little off for me. So there's that. The second reason I don't absolutely love this straight off the bat after these first few goes of trying it is the finish is just a little less glowy than my personal preferences. So that's not something that would necessarily affect you. That's not something that would necessarily be the case for everybody. But for me, I like a little bit more glow, a little bit more luminosity, and I was probably expecting this to have that, which would almost be a little unfair because I think that's just my preference rather than the foundation's description. How I would describe this, it's literally the halfway mark between the two other foundations they have, their matte foundation and then their Pro Filter Hydrating foundation. This is slap bang wallop right between those two. I would dare to say that this is the middle ground. It's not super glowy, it isn't matte, it's slap bang in the middle of the two that they already have, which is smart, which is a great thing, so everybody's got an option to choose from. I would say this is definitely going to be pushing for my favourite Fenty foundation ever. I want to keep trying it a little bit more, but I think it will end up being my favourite Fenty foundation. And they have strong foundations. They're always strong. They're always solid. They always perform well. But I do always struggle with the undertones. And my favourite up until this point has definitely been the Pro Filter Hydrating. I think this one wears a little better and is a little more flattering on my texture than that one. But I think it's beautiful. I think lots of people will love this, especially if you have a drier skin type, because it feels throughout the day very light, very hydrating and comfortable, and I think it's really kind on textured areas as well. So that is all wins. My personal preference is for a glowier, more luminous foundation, just not quite ticked off with this foundation, but I really can't say anything else bad about it, to be honest. And really that's it. That's me. It's not you. That's me. It's a me thing. Okay, don't take it personally. So there you have it. Those are all of my thoughts on this new foundation from Fenty. Please let me know if you have tried this in the comment section down below and how you got along with it, what your skin type is. Let us know how it worked for you, how it wore, how you got on with it in general. Is it a like, love, or hate in the bin? Let us know. But I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.